Recently, there is constant news on the development of COVID-19 vaccines. People around the world are eager for a silver lining to end the darkness of the pandemic, which has lasted about a year and caused over 1.6 million deaths. There are high expectations placed on vaccines. How's about the development and application of the vaccines in China? There are 15 vaccine candidates in phase 3 trials, 1/3 of which are developed by China, including vaccines that get a lot of attentions, the adenoviral vector vaccine by CanSino Biologics Incorporated, and inactivated vaccines by Sinovac and Sinopharm. The development efforts such as emergency use and production are proceeding normally. So, where can we get vaccinated on these Chinese products? China started its emergency use of vaccines on July 22. Places like China's Zhejiang, Sichuan and Guangdong provinces have begun emergency use for people in high-risk groups like medical workers, people in the cold chain industry. And the vaccination scale is getting larger. The National Health Authority said on December 16 that China is preparing for mass production of COVID-19 vaccines. GT reporters visited the places that offer vaccinations in Zhejiang province.
我们也是根据我们省里的这个统一的部署那么开展这个疫苗呢，我们现在是新冠疫苗是开展这个紧急系统。那么我们现在对象主要是分那个重点保障的对象跟重点的推荐的对象，我们现在主要针对这两类的那么我们这种的话就是主要是针对重点推荐的话，主要是那个比如说医务人员卫生防疫人员包括一些口岸的检疫人员包括一些这个集中隔离场这些工作人员，这类的人员。我们现在整个的流程都是，我们一个就是你自己知情同意，然后自愿的去申报，去申报以后，那么经过审核符合我们的紧急金融条件的，那么会马上就是审核通过以后，马上就发个信息给你，然后跟你预约，告诉你什么时候到什么地方去接种，然后接到这个通知以后，你到那接种点去，他凭那个身份证凭那个信息，那进去就可以接种掉了。
As we were told, many of the applicants are students planning to study overseas or businessmen.
我们主要的客户在俄罗斯吧，然后有可能最近想去俄罗斯莫斯科拜访一下客户。
打疫苗不担心吧？有什么？
那我更担心出国的时候不小心感染那个新冠，所以说还是相信国家的科研吧。
对于这个出国留学的需要，没有什么目前没有什么明显不良反应。
你是第几针？
第2针了，就是目前是已知打的同学都没有发生什么样的情况。
China's vaccines have also begun clinical trials in many other countries. Over 59,600 people in the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Jordan, Bahrain, Peru, Argentina and Morocco have participated in Sinopharm's Phase 3 clinical trials. Over 29,620 people in Brazil, Indonesia and Turkey have participated in Sinovac's Phase 3 clinical trials. And over 30,500 people in Russia, Pakistan, Mexico, Argentina and Chile have participated in CanSino's Phase 3 clinical trials. The inactivated vaccines manufactured by Sinopharm were separately approved in the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain on December 9 and December 13. The United Arab Emirates conducted a trial beginning in September of Sinopharm's vaccine involving 31,000 volunteers from 125 nations. After reviewing Sinopharm's interim analysis of the Phase 3 trials, the United Arab Emirates' Health and Prevention Ministry announced the results via a statement on the state-run Emirates news agency, confirming the vaccine has an 86% efficacy. 16 countries and regions around the world have imported Chinese vaccines. Since November, batches of vaccines have been transported to countries like Brazil, Egypt, Turkey and Indonesia. Due to the increasing number of people getting vaccines, some side effects have been seen in some recipients in different countries, US Food and Drug Administration reported that 4 volunteers developed Bell's palsy after getting an experimental COVID-19 vaccine made by Pfizer. A nurse suffered transient but bad side effects in the Pfizer vaccine trial, including high fever, nausea, and fatigue. By doing Vox Pop, we learn that safety is the priority when people consider whether to get vaccinated.
对呀，安全第一嘛。我想那接种疫苗也是安全，是不是？也是预防，是不是？你如果是疫苗有问题的话，本身有问题的话，那接着也没意义了，是不是？
主要还是安全这方面嘛，我肯定会愿意接受这方面的疫苗。然后其次的话，就会可能还有一小部分原因就考虑价格方面的原因吧。如果是能够接受的价格呢，肯定是希望能够接受这个疫苗。
So, are Chinese vaccines safe? In East China's Anhui province, we learn that some frontline workers have received COVID-19 emergency vaccines developed by Sinopharm and Sinovac Biotech. There hasn't been any adverse reactions so far.
没有什么特别的明显的那个症状和感受，反正就是一共打了2针，两针之间间隔大概28天嘛。然后打完之后可能稍微有一点嗜睡，但我也不确定是不是因为这个疫苗的原因，其他跟正常一样嘛，反正整个流程也非常的那个简单。
我是009号新冠疫苗志愿者，这个疫苗的安全性，然后我就是最好的答案。接种疫苗到现在，我并没有任何的不良反应，而且就是到现在我也一直保持着身体的良好状态，我也并没有感冒或者发烧。
Some foreign volunteers we contacted also emphasized the safety of Chinese vaccines.
Doctors told us that there would be some symptoms for 2 days. My sister got a little bit sick. She got fever the first night, and I think I vomited the next day. But other than that, there was nothing. So I felt pretty safe.
In an official Sinopharm report, Chairman Liu Jingchen said that over 1 million people have received their experimental coronavirus vaccine for emergency use with 0 serious adverse effects reported. Only individual recipients developed mild symptoms. Does it mean that vaccines are not safe if a few recipients have adverse effects? An expert told Global Times that it doesn't mean the vaccine is not safe if there are several abnormal vaccine reactions. Only a cluster of fevers and irritability would indicate the vaccine has a safety-related problem. For possible problems of vaccines, the research organizations have figured out measures to deal with. In Sinovac's factory, we found that each vaccine has a unique code for following the injections.
药品追溯码嘛，你扫它就能查出这个10个码。
我出问题了。
对，就会能追溯到哪一批，都能追溯到在哪个地方打的，都能追溯到。
When Chinese vaccines research is complete, how will they contribute to the world's fight against COVID-19? As reported, the annual production capacity of vaccines will reach 610 million doses in China by the end of 2020. According to a Naifeng report, 4 Chinese vaccines have signed contracts for 500 million doses with 16 countries, with the number still climbing. Compared with Pfizer and Moderna, Chinese vaccines have one crucial advantage: they are much easier to transport. China's vaccines can be temporarily preserved at 228 degrees while the US Pfizer mRNA vaccine requires -70 degrees for long-term preservation, and can only last for 5 days under 228 degrees. The New York Times reported that the Chinese vaccine could offer a lifeline to developing countries that cannot afford vaccines from the United States that are likely to be more expensive and more difficult to transport. On October 8, China signed an agreement with Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to officially join COVAX. And China has made a commitment to the world that the country will turn COVID-19 vaccines into a global public good, and provide vaccines to developing countries as a priority.